Well, it's another Thursday night, and welcome to the Tomsig Analysis. I am David Tomsig. It's the 21st of November. Now, we have a little bit to talk about today, and some breaking news. And I think you'll like it. Some of you may like it. Let's get started here. Well, the International Criminal Court, the ICC. Now, if you don't know who they are, they come out of The Hague in the Netherlands, and of course they usually prosecute war criminals. Well, today they issued arrest warrants for Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and his former defense minister Yoav Gallant. This came as no surprise to me. Now, the ICC's vote on these particular warrants were unanimous. So you might say, David, America's pro-Israel. I'm not as much anti-Israel as I am pro-peace and pro-life and anti-genocide. But having said that, digressing a little bit, what were the crimes, you might ask? Well, how about this to start? Slaughter of innocents, the deprivation of food, water, shelter, and medicine to innocent people. Now, many in the world, and I'm saying the world, and I'm not exaggerating, believe the U.S. is complicit in these crimes. Now, let's be honest, Netanyahu will never get arrested for any of these particular crimes against humanity. The reason is most of the world has no cojones. They know what's happening are war crimes. It's simple. Now, I know many of you out there are going to disagree. Many of you are pro-Israel, Zionists maybe, and you think it's okay because you put the Bible in front of your face, and so when someone questions you, they see the Bible. What can they say? Well, but the rest of us who have common sense and sort of know the full extent of what the Bible has said, knows that these are war crimes. International law, which we all have to respect. Now, whether you put the Bible in front of you or not isn't going to help you here, because these are agreements between all countries what are considered war crimes. This is considered war crime by everybody. Just we're using an exception here. Okay? Now, the U.S. will protect and prevent Netanyahu and Gallant from ever being prosecuted. In fact, I think it was in Afghanistan, American soldiers were arrested for murdering unarmed Afghanis. And the United States threatened The Hague, said, we'll arrest your people, we'll come after you, you're just consider yourself a part of an act of war against the United States, yada, 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 and they released them. See, now you know why. You watching me, David Tomsig, on the Tomsig Analysis, start hammering people in this world. Because, you see, it has gone berserk. The people we expect to stand for truth, for peace, for understanding, for mercy, are the ones crying out for blood. Sort of like those people back in Jerusalem when they cried out for, Barabbas to be saved and Jesus to be crucified. So why is this a big deal? Why are we so interested here at the Tomsig Analysis? You see, what people don't get is that, first of all, mostly every congressman we have, and senator we have, president we have, has been bought and paid for by the Israeli lobby, AIPAC. Huge, massive amounts of money. They gave Netanyahu, I believe the last time he was in, 58 standing ovations. He called the people protesting outside, protesting for peace, for the Palestinians, terrorists, evil. And they gave him another standing ovation. Donald Trump has said in his administration he will break up protests using the military. These are terrorists. Now, maybe he did not read, and I'm sure he didn't, the Constitution of the United States. That this is something we are allowed to do, to protest against what we think and many times know is wrong. Anybody awake out there? No, I don't have the chat on. I'm sorry. I barely got this up. I need help. I need technical help. I digress. So what have they done that makes me believe that these people are dangerous? Well, see, it's not just me. I'm talking to Israelis. I'm not just talking this particular war. There's a plan by the Israeli government to take pretty much all of the West Bank into Syria, into Iraq, Lebanon, and they want to expand into what they call a greater Israel. Now, of course, the Zionists in this country, the new cabinet, mostly Zionists, are for this. They believe that this is their land, that God gave them this land. Now, of course, we're going back into the Old Testament, into some of the things said back and written back then. And I'm not going to get into that because I have disproved that. A lot of people have. Believe me when I say, as many people in this country that believe that this is physically now their land, they can do whatever they want to get it back. There are just as many Christians, scholars, both sides, Hebrew historians, Jewish historians, and other historians that'll tell you that's not really true. Okay, the wording and how it was pulled out of context now to use in this particular time is butchery. But I digress. I'm not getting into that. There are plenty of videos out there for those of you that are interested that you can find on the history of this and how it relates to Scripture. Because you see, you just can't eliminate history. You just can't say, well, that didn't happen. You can't say everything's a lie, which is what too many right-wing people say today when you show them the truth. Here's the truth right here. It's a lie. I don't believe it. See, this disinformation war on our country isn't just for all the people we dislike as more conservative people, as Christians. It's happened in our own camp. We now don't want to believe anything that we disagree with. We have the evidence. Put the Bible right in front of you. Don't worry about what Jesus said, because we're going back. This is a separate thing. It's all separate. So then you can overlook genocide. So you don't have to think about it. It's not genocide. Well, everybody else thinks it is. And according to international law, it is. There's no way around that unless you make up something on your own, and you did. It's not what they did on October 7th. Well, there's a lot of questions on what happened on October 7th, and I'm not denying there was some things that happened. A lot of the things that were stated did not happen. But yeah, there was an attack. There were some definitely people killed, definitely. But not as many as what you see now. The cure was worse than the disease. You know, we are now just being involved in a genocide war. Now keep in mind, and I'm going to digress a little bit here. For those of you that don't know, that aren't reading and following the news and finding places to get news and then understanding what the Israelis, what Netanyahu's government has been saying on their own. So you kind of miss that because you won't listen to it because you don't believe you need to. But they believe that these people are pretty much less than human, that for them to get rid of everybody, they have to pretty much kill them all or force them somewhere in a brutal fashion. And it's been brutal for decades. Now, the other side says, well, they've been firing missiles. I'm tired of hearing it. Listen, when someone comes and takes your house and kills you, you're going to react. And you got to understand, that's exactly what you would do. So let's not get into tit for tat. Let's get into saying that killing women and children and babies is unacceptable on this mass scale. Blowing up tents with medical, basically a medical tent, hospitals. Now, we've done that here in the United States. That's why we don't feel there's any issue, because we've done it for decades. It's what we do. But I'm not getting into all that. I just wanted to make that clear, because you're not going to convince me, because, believe me, the evidence is beyond that. What you have is what you want to believe, those of you that disagree. You want to believe that it's okay, whatever, we're protected by this. I know what you're trying to allude to, but, that isn't going to work, because I go to the New Testament and it tells me a little different story. it kind of overwrites some of that hatred and some of that vengefulness. They want to go against these people. You know, the avenging angel that means you've taken our land, we're going to kill you all. But they were given land, and they want more. They want more because they say the Bible tells them they need more. You want to build settlements. Donald Trump's son wants to put high-end resorts on the West Bank for rich people. Of course, it's about rich people. It's about oil. That too. See, we hide from that. Many Christians and right-wing people hide from a lot of the cause and effects here because we're going to be given whatever they think we'll tolerate. See, we're friends with you. We're your allies in the Middle East. We have a common enemy. And of course, the thing is, we've been used. We've been used for decades. And let me go down the list of how badly we've been used. I mean, outside of our Congress bought and paid for. Netanyahu has been in the year of every president for the last 20 or 30 years, since he's been in office, 20 years, 15. He wants to overthrow the entire Middle East. Okay, sure. He wanted to overthrow Iraq. He had to get rid of Saddam Hussein. He put that in Bush's ear. Syria, Bashar al-Assad. I can't pronounce his name, people. He's the president of Syria. He had to go. Libya, Muammar Gaddafi had to go. Lebanon, 2006, they had to go. Iran, as of right now. Now, all three of these wars, we really never won. You know, we say we won in Iraq, but they want us out of there, and nothing's really changed that much. We just got rid of Saddam Hussein. And now people look at it, analysts saying that probably wasn't a good idea. And it wasn't. But Netanyahu wanted it. He wanted to get rid of his enemies. He wanted us to get rid of his enemies. Syria, Bashar al-Assad. Bad guy. Killing his own people. Well, that was all disproven, and it was finally acknowledged it was a lie. He did not get overthrown because the Russians came to his aid. Enter Russians. Stage right. Libya, Muammar Gaddafi. Remember, Hillary Clinton talked about killing him. Bad idea. He held that together. It was a solid nation, beautiful nation. It's now in chaos, as is most of the Middle East. Lebanon. Israel went in 2006. Got their butts handed to them. They had to leave. Excuse me. Iran today. Iran's no pushover. So they know they can't take Iran one-on-one. They need us. They're trying to draw us into that. Iran may or may not have a nuclear weapon. Israel may want to, and the United States want to make sure that they don't. Now, there was an agreement that Obama made with Iran to not produce nuclear weapons in lieu of arrangements. Donald Trump, once again, screwed that up and got us out of that agreement with Iran. So they can and probably are close and probably could right now make one if they wanted to. Will that be responded to by the United States and Israel on an attack on the nation of Iran, a sovereign nation? Probably. We're not sure what Donald Trump will do. Now, if it was up to Netanyahu, we'd be attacking tomorrow morning at daylight. So he's gotten he's gotten us into all these wars. He was part of the speaking in the ear of every president, Obama and Bush, and even got us involved in killing Soleimani, the general from Iraq, or should I say from Iran, that we murdered, that we assassinated, again, breaking international law. And Trump signed off on that. So don't go giving Trump he never started wars. He was involved. He never stopped any of them. Okay? He didn't stop the war in Afghanistan, and I think that probably pissed off Joe Biden in the transition. Yep, that's part of a problem that you're seeing now. Biden's leaving Trump a big surprise with these missiles in Ukraine. Tit for tat, right? So Trump's not out of the woods on this. It's just that he sort of played a muddled part in them. But still, knee deep. Now, these botched wars cost us, you, trillions of dollars. Trillions! Tens of thousands of lives. Who knows how many, really? And it destabilized the whole Middle East, which is still in chaos. Maybe you don't care about the Middle East because maybe they're just dirty people. We don't like them anyway. Okay, those of you that are, if you're a Christian, go read your scripture and figure out how to get over that, because I don't know where you came from. Okay, outside of that, thousands and tens of thousands of weapons poured throughout the Middle East and into Africa. Okay, starting overthrows and wars and arming groups across the continent. You see, foreign policy is important for those of you that don't care. And I want to tell a story right now. I was at a meeting, and a good friend of mine, we all know he doesn't really read any news. He's more of a sports guy, and he doesn't read any news, doesn't look anything up, doesn't get the paper, doesn't read anything, doesn't listen to me on this channel. But he said to his wife, don't worry, Trump's going to get elected and it'll be okay. So this is likened to what I said when I was a coach, a pretty bad coach in Little League. Parents would come to me and say, my son wants to play first base. I said, have you worked with him to catch a ball being thrown to him? Well, no. And of course, you throw the ball to him and it hits him in the head because they've never learned how to play baseball, let alone all the balls that'll be thrown to first base. What they want is to have their glove, toss it onto the field, and it automatically works for them. They don't have to do anything. That's probably a bad analogy, maybe. But let's believe this, that too many people just take it for granted. That's why everybody believes what they want to believe, because they're too lazy, maybe too stupid, maybe, excuse me, too narrow-minded, too programmed by their church or by whatever to look any farther than what someone said. No farther. He's done. It's fantastic. It doesn't matter the cost for anybody else. As long as you're okay to sit tonight and watch the Steeler game, you're fine. I'm not going to worry about anybody else in this world. They're all enemies. They're the bad guys. I was told, Dave, why do you say bad guys? Because you see, that's dumbed down enough for a lot of people to figure out. They're bad guys. White hats and black hats. All this basically illusion, mirrors, putting the right against the left. And the right thinks they have the answers, and then you realize they had very little answers. They were fooled too, like they have been this year, this election. Okay? Now, Bernie Sanders, remember him? A lot of people didn't like Bernie. He was right. He's a left-wing liberal communist. Blah, 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 you know how people are. I didn't dislike Bernie Sanders. I'm not saying he was perfect. But, if he didn't get pretty much side-railed, sabotaged in 2016, 15, when he was running for president, I think, he would have won. Now, Hillary Clinton and her gang made sure he didn't get the nomination. He would have beaten Trump. Everybody knows this. The numbers were there. He'd have beaten him. Bernie had a big following number-wise. But you see, no one liked Bernie because he was that guy that thought against the grain. Not in a right-wing communist, right-wing Nazi way. He was the type of guy that just looked at the middle class and the poor. Even though he's a millionaire, he had ideas to try to help those people, to reach those hands out. Listen, no one else has said anything about poor people or homeless people. He was the only one. So give him some slack here. But him and 18 other senators, most of them Democrats, tried to pass legislation to stop or block weapons being sold to Israel. Of course, that would stop the war quick. Because right now, there's been a call by the United Nations, by everybody who voted around the world, who were involved, The main nations, the voting members of the United Nations, okay, which people don't like the United Nations. Okay, you know what? You don't like anything. I mean, no, I don't trust the United Nations and everything either, but this is something cut and dry. This is something that you vote and you say, hey, listen, we got to have a humanitarian ceasefire here. This is crazy. But no, the United States would not allow that. Again, complicit. That blood. All you that think this is okay out there, all of you think this is okay. Put the Bible down, you look, there's blood on your hands. Blood. And it won't wash off. Okay, so, of course, this bill was killed in the Senate. These nutbags weren't going to not allow Israel to bomb buildings with people in it. Gee whiz, you can't do that. And of course, and someone said I say of course a lot. I'm sorry, of course. They did give Netanyahu 58 standing ovations to beat the last group. So you knew they're bought and paid for. They're not going to not send bombs to kill people. And plus, they make money on the weapons they send in their pocket with the defense. Oh, yeah, it's lucrative. Now, what will Trump do? Nobody really knows right now. He's been all over the board. Now, his cabinet, which is a nightmare, is mostly Zionist, okay? Huge number. All the way down the road to Tulsi Gabbard. She's really out there. And, Mike Huckabee, he's going to be the ambassador to Israel. This is a guy who goes into the right-wing nationalist playbook, Christian nationalist playbook, and says there's no Palestine, there's no pretty much apartheid living going on. There's no concentration camps. There's nothing. None of this really means anything. He goes back 3,000 years. Even Israel agrees that there are, it is pretty much an apartheid country. That they agree what's happening. He doesn't. This guy's crazy. Now I say that in a loving way. He probably does mean that he believes in Jesus Christ. He just has hijacked, as the Zionist movement has. The right-wing evangelical movement has, in many ways, hijacked reality. War crimes aren't war crimes. Murder's not murder. Depends on how you look at it and who did it. You got to go, okay, well, I don't know that that's how it works. As a Christian, I'm telling you this from a Christian standpoint. Murder is murder, genocide's genocide, and I refuse to be a part of it. You're going to get punished by God. Where does it say that? I looked at my New Testament because that's what I'm under. Where does it say that? There's terrorists. Listen, I'm going to say this again. If I've been pretty much built in a walled city surrounded with very little water and food, treated like dirt, murdered, killed, arrested, which thousands of them are arrested, kids and children detained every year in jails, raped and brutalized in jails for as long as they have, I'd be off the reservation too. And if you wouldn't be, then maybe you should reconsider, that you have cojones or not. Because you see, it's easy for everybody else to go and I'm going to go here. If you think you want to defend them, Mike and all these guys Trump put in, listen, no, we're not going to put you in these cabinet things. We're going to, if you can't afford it, and they're all millionaires or they're not poor people. He's not dealing with poor people here. But we'll buy you the uniform, the rifle, the helmet, little canteen, when we'll get you airdropped right into the battle zone, in the war zone, get you into Lebanon or Gaza. You can go fight, because my kid's not going to fight for your war. It's God's war. No, it's not. Blessed are the people. What happened to the Beatitude Christians? Where did they all go? They're disappeared off the face of the earth. They want the Jesus that overturned the table. We want that guy. A sword. He overturned the table. He's not dealing with this crap anymore. Well, he went to the cross, so he dealt with it. Okay? We want to pull this stuff out. Like this nut group that the cabinet he's filling with. He's basically, it's a reality show of people that aren't qualified to do anything. I know. Wait, you're going to tell me you don't have to be qualified, just good people. They need good people in there. No, you need qualified people who are good. Anyway, so Trump is a Zionist. We know this. Now, if you don't know this, a woman named Marian Adelson, I forget her husband's name. She's a billionaire and has a Jewish foundation. She's Jewish. She gave Donald Trump $100 million to persuade him to move the capital of Israel to Tel Aviv. That was on December 6, 2017. Now, many people don't know that. But this is something it is well known. Okay, so any of you that thought he was doing it because he believed X, Y, and Z, he had 100 million reasons for it. And he told you guys whatever you wanted to hear. So he's going to tell all of you what you want to hear. And you love it. You take it up. I forgot to bring my Bible here. I usually have one down here, and I was going to use it. It might really have upset some people. Sometimes the truth does hurt. So I'm just going to have one more quick thing here. And I'm going to go over these nominees over the next few weeks, maybe the next week. I wanted to get this one out of the way because he just basically withdrew from consideration. A guy named Matt Gaetz. Trump nominated him for Attorney General. This is a man who said he has an axe to grind. See, the right-wing people want to go after everybody who created all these crimes and went after Donald, who didn't do anything wrong, and we're going to get him. And this guy was going to go after him. He's a man with an axe to grind. Well, apparently he had sexual allegations for rape and assault with an underage minor, transporting a minor across state lines, with 2 witnesses that have come out. And, of course, Trump told the Speaker of the House and other evangelical Christian nationalists, these guys are great, Mike Johnson. He asked Mike Johnson to make sure this did not enter this into the conversation during the hearings. Mike Johnson, of course, said, yes, Donald, anything you want, because we don't want to have, just because he had sexual allegations and stuff like this doesn't mean he won't be a good yes man for you, which is the key. So I'm going to leave you with this. There's a pattern here of yes men. See, Donald doesn't want strong people working for him. He doesn't. He wants people he can control, that'll do his bidding. The Attorney General is the perfect. He fired 2 guys, or they quit. Barr was one of them. He wouldn't do what he wanted to do, which was go after anybody and everybody. Whether it was trumped up charges or not, he wanted to go after everybody because he is that guy. That's who he is. If you don't know that, then again, there's something wrong with you because everybody knows that. Everybody, it's not a secret. He has said so himself. In fact, Trump said, when you're a celebrity, they all let you do it. Do you want me to tell you what he meant by that? If you don't know, again, I'm sorry for you. This is the world that my mother used to tell me. Don't do as I say, do it. Don't do as I do as I say. You see, there's 2 classes of people, the billionaires, which are now in charge, the oligarchs, and their little yes men and women. All of them. I'm going to go down the list over the next week or so, maybe. And I wanted to get Gaetz because this pressure came out and he resigned. He's not going to be Attorney General. He backed out, which he should have. But the thing is, he should never have been nominated, ever. But you see, this is the people they want. Yes, men. You're going to go after all these people. And he would have. Yes, sir, because you got something on him. I got you in here. You were dirty, but you're now with me. You'll do what I say. Now, if you people don't get that, and you don't want to believe that, there are books. He has written his own book, which describes this. There are people who have written other books and have done documentaries and have pretty much documented his life according to him. This is not something that just people make up. All of you on the right, everybody makes stuff up about him. Everyone makes stuff up about everybody. You know what? I've never heard half of this crazy stuff that I've heard from the right-wing people compared to left-wing people. And I'm a political atheist. So I know many of you saying you keep going after Donald Trump. Well, he's now the president-elect. in one of the most important times in our history. Of course, we're going to scrutinize him. We're going to scrutinize him and scrutinize him some more. I would have done the same with Kamala. But unfortunately for him, there's much more baggage, and there's bigger issues here. Much bigger issues. And we're going to go down and find him for you. How's that? Listen, it's all the time I have. I like saying it. It's all the time I have. Listen, like, subscribe, and share. God bless you. Remember, Jesus has an answer. He said in the New Testament, he said, love thy neighbor as thyself. I just did a video on this. Watch those other videos. It'll give you some background. The New Testament shows the love of Jesus Christ and how he wants to see peacemakers. The peacemakers will, are a huge thing in the Beatitudes. Read those Beatitudes and then go back and see if there's a way around them. There isn't. We want to make different groupings of people. They have this, that, and these rights, and we have these rights. No, God has one. It's Jesus Christ overall. And he isn't for genocide. He isn't for murder. He isn't for killing. And if you want to say it's fair in war, war has rules too. You can't break those. Even human beings, fallen heathen human beings know that around the world. They know that. Apparently you don't. Listen, I ask you to reconsider. Take a look at your New Testament. Think about the Beatitudes. Read them. And hopefully you have a change of heart. And maybe that blood, by your repentance, will be gone. Thanks for watching again. See you next time. Next week, we're going to have a live stream on Tuesday. We will not have a live stream on Thanksgiving. Nope. Live stream Tuesday, 7 p.m. Be there. I'll get the chat up and running, hopefully. But God bless you. And I'll see you next time right here. I'm going to put it up here on the Tom Sig analysis. I don't know how these things turn out. God bless you.